Because normally, like, if we weren't live, like, let's say we're not live right now, I'd be like,
yeah.
We're back. We're back.
Yeah, we are live.
We are live. That is great.
That's super cool.
Boy, I really almost ruined our backlog of historical accurate. No, okay. Hey, everybody, it's Daniel, Tiffany, and Phil here from the Wish You Were a Beer Show. Thank you so much for stopping by. As always, if you're unfamiliar with us, this is a beer show that we decided to do, and we decided to do it live.
And we're still doing it.
Yeah. Hey.
Still going. We do this every Thursday. We feel like doing it. So if you're not familiar with us, find all of our social medias. They're in the About section here on the page. They'll be scrolling down at the bottom as well because Phil's better at what he does than I do. So follow along with us. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Huge on TikTok.
I was going to say huge on Facebook, man. I put one political post up there.
No.
Holy shit. No, but follow along with us through all of our social medias. You can kind of get a chance to see where we're drinking individually, what we're doing as a show, what beers we're having, what beers we're brewing occasionally, and what's going to be coming up on the weeks ahead. And that's probably the easiest way to keep up with this now, as we're not doing a show every week. We're kind of doing them as we have a guest or as we feel like we have something we want to talk about. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. That'll give you a live notification as if we are doing a show, but also our social media is probably the easiest way to find out. So
sometimes we just miss Phil, though, and then we need to do an episode.
That does help, but those are the worst shows.
Nope, those are my favorite because it's just us hanging out.
Like, what are you drinking?
Whatever.
I don't fucking know.
We've done the show a million times, and I still forget sometimes to even just post where it's supposed to go. So I'm just going to be doing that for a second.
I'm okay with this. Again, if you're unfamiliar with this, I'm Daniel. That's Tiffany. That is Phil. We try to have a beer anytime we get a chance and try to hang out with beer people. And, you know, we're lucky enough tonight that we have a guest on the show. Joshua from Hidden Springs Ale Works is coming by out of Florida. So we'll get a chance to talk with him and talk about the beer that we're having, which I'm excited about. It's always fun to talk to people in the industry and talk to people that make beer, not just talk about beer, which is good because I barely talk about beer. Beer in front with Phil can be arranged. True story. I'm actually genuinely upset how much Dave just wants to do his own spinoff with you. I'm like, Dave, we exist as well.
It's going to happen. I mean,
I know it is, but I don't want to watch it
leaving you, and I'm going to watch you try to do all the tech of this.
Oh God, it's going to be miserable.
I'm going to have to quit my real job.
But I feel like you and Dave on the same show consistently is ripe for a Family Guy parody. It's just it's Joe Buck and Dave in an announcing booth talking to each other.
So since we have Dave here, and I love when we have Dave in our audience, I do have a special thing that's happening tonight, and I think Dave will appreciate it, so I'm glad he's here.
You're going through puberty?
Yeah. For my birthday, my high school buddy sent me something from our childhood that he was like, you have to have this on the show. And I was like, okay. So I got this box. I open it up.
Nice.
No.
Sent me a can of Surge.
What year was that can? Do they still make that?
So they did a remake, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I read the expiration date, and it's 2018. So not too bad. But because he sent it to me, and it's still cracked open, so that's a good sign, I guess. Right?
I fucking dig it. Yeah, still carbonated. You're fine.
Oh yeah, it's fizzing like.
Oh God, it's just the same color as I remember too.
Oh.
I sent him because I was laughing. I was like, dude, we were drinking these so much when we were kids, and yeah, there he is, Ryan.
Lurking.
We were laughing. We were like, we used to just drink these so much, and then I was like, 56 grams of sugar.
That's it?
That's insane for 12-year-old to be drinking.
It's so green.
Vero, that is Surge. It is a
terrible,
beautiful drink from our childhood that it's cocaine in a glass for Yeah.
It's basically like they poured Mountain Dew on top of more sugar. That's basically what it is.
So gross.
Oh, I love it.
It does taste pretty much like what I remember. Like I wasn't sure what it tasted like. I was like, I know I drank a lot of this. I wasn't expecting this, but now that I'm drinking it, I'm like, yep, that is Surge.
Checks out.
Question: Are you going to finish the can?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, just checking because you're like I used to drink it all the time. It tastes exactly like it used to. I, as an adult, felt like that was a necessary question.
Phil will definitely be cornholio soon.
I do love that they're like it's low sodium though. Low sodium.
Can't have that much salt and sugar in the
Only
same
40 milligrams of sodium, 230 calories in the can.
Oh God, I love it.
And we just like casually drank it, like it was
casually. Well, you need a lot of sugar when you're rollerblading around the neighborhood,
or when you're doing some breakdancing.
I wasn't into it quite yet. I probably would have been better if I had that amount of sugar in my system.
It's addictive, actually. I can't stop.
It won't stop.
Again, my question stands. We'll readdress at the end of the show.
Yeah, we'll see where I'm at. But
we'll circle back.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it away from me so I don't keep drinking it.
This is by the 12-pack. You can count on. If you didn't get a 3-liter of it from your local rack and sack, you were doing it wrong. That was the OG low-budget grocery store. You bagged your own groceries. They made a whole business model off of it long before all these other self-checkout places. They were like, yeah, we got 5 people who work here. Good luck.
Perfect.
But it's cheap. And I was like, yeah, 3 liters of Surge, 99 cents.
Well, me, I always use my 99 cents for Arizona iced tea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, now it's only $1.99. Inflation.
We are not.
I told you I do great on Facebook.
Cool story.
That's all you got?
That's all I've got.
See? I love playing Mortal Kombat at the rack and sack. Yes! Get your groceries.
Is his brother, by the way. That's why.
Don't ruin his identity.
Just saying.
Secret. All right. So again, Phil, I'm glad you got some Surge. I can't wait till that kicks in. And I also love that we're a professional beer show and you decided to fucking shit all over your palate with a gallon of Surge before we tried someone's beer.
I see it as a cleanser, actually. You know,
it's late Mountain Dew.
It's like when you have like the little lemon sorbet between your meals to like cleanse the palate. That's what I'm thinking.
So I did mention I got Surge at a rack and sack, right?
I think
that lemon sorbet palate cleanser shit.
I was thinking the ginger between like different sushi.
I think that this might be the liquid runoff from the rack and sack. That's what this is.
You're welcome. You are welcome.
I keep drinking it. I keep hating myself, and I keep drinking it.
Put the glass away, Phil. Put the glass
away. I'm going to put it far away from me.
Yeah, because, again, as I mentioned on the front end of the show, we do have a guest with us tonight. We are having a beer from said Guestis brewery. Guestis. Yeah,
okay. you can up already because I love the can art.
Yeah, I do as well.
Dig it.
So we are having Prohibition Party tonight, which is a pre-Prohibition Pilsner. And that is from Hidden Springs Ale Works. They are out of Florida. I'm excited for this beer. Phil found it. Phil's down that way to some degree.
And that I was just walking down the aisle and I was like, love that can art. That's the one we're doing.
Phil, I assume every beer you send me is not based off of, boy, look at those ingredients. I know it's can art.
It's always can art.
And I'm fine with it.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like Pilsner, 100%. Like, what style of beer is it for this one? I'm like, oh, that can art is cool. No, I don't want that.
So I'm excited to try this beer. It's been in our fridge for a couple of weeks now when Phil sent it to us. And we were going to have the beer last week, but obviously there was a massive storm that came through Florida.
Yes.
Thoughts and prayers with everybody that went through that. North Carolina, Florida, Georgia. That is a rough situation. Growing up on the East Coast here in Virginia, I've experienced my fair share of hurricanes. I don't wish them on my worst enemy. So I hope everybody's okay and everybody his families are okay. That's tough. If you're unfamiliar with that situation, there is a ton of charities that you can go to.
Yes.
Obviously the American Red Cross is always going to be involved. But there's also a lot of poor charities like POUR. So I know a lot of our local breweries are giving $1 from every one of their house lager towards different breweries throughout the states that were affected by this. So if you have a local brewery in town and they're doing any type of charity work towards North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, anybody affected by this storm, go get you a beer. Let them send $1 for every beer you drink. It's the least you can do in that situation. So
that just goes with why we've grown so much to even love breweries more, is there's always breweries stepping up in these situations, which the community, it's literally why we do this show, because this community is so fun to be like even a small part of, like we are.
Yeah 100%.
Agreed.
So if you're unfamiliar with the show, we are going to play trivia. We do have a guest tonight who's going to play trivia with us / give us the answers. So go ahead and get in early while you can, Kahoot.it, or you can use the Kahoot app, put in the game pen code, make a team name. It can be Prohibition based. It could be Pilsner based. It could be Florida based. It could be biblical, or
it could be broker brews, because there's always one of them.
Could be what? Wait, I missed
broker brews.
He's not here tonight.
Oh, that's right. He's out today.
Right. Yeah, I just love that we hadn't even got into the waiting room, and Gabriel's like, "Nah, I'm at Red Wall. Sorry, I'm not gonna be there."
Like, nice.
I mean, I appreciate the check-in.
I do as well.
Yeah.
So go ahead and create your team name. But again, I'm excited tonight. We've got Jacqui Garman, who is the co-owner and I assume original brewer. I don't know if he's still currently the only head brewer of Hidden Springs Ale Works. So we're going to roll a clip that I assume we still own that says we have a, okay, cool. I didn't know if we got took down for copyright purposes, because it sounds just like Paula Abdul. Listen. Josh, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Other than how the front end of the show went, we're still in recovery. But
can we talk about that for a minute, though? I just want to point out, in a previous life, I was a computer programmer, and I lived off of Surge for I don't know how many years. And reading how much sugar is in that is very scary. To know how much of that we consumed day in and day out for years.
I feel like back in the day where they didn't even put the nutritional facts on things, and so we just didn't know. I mean,
right. Yeah, ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah.
God, you're not kidding. I just also love that.
Curious.
I always forget that a lot of folks in the beer industry are in the same age range as we are. You know, I always think like, we're gonna talk to some old bastard or some like young hip person, and then you're like, grew up on Surge. I worked my whole, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We're probably in the same age range. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, the new
Thanks
kids,
for having me.
they're not drinking.
Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're excited about it. Like I said, Phil's down in Florida. He's a little further south. He's in Miami area.
Nice.
And whenever Phil sends us beer, like we were talking about before you came in, we know it's going to be can art related.
Yep.
Because that's his jam.
Yeah, I don't know much about beer. 100 episodes in, but I do know can art. So, I like what I sees, and this I like.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So a little backstory on that label. We found we were doing some reading on the style of beer, and during Prohibition, they gave prescriptions to people to be able to get beer, and that was basically a picture that we found of an old prescription that would be written for consumption of whiskey or some sort of alcohol, and we kind of changed it to fit our needs. But it's definitely a weird time that those people had to live in to get a prescription, get a beer.
And that's crazy. Like that's I love some of the background when you can find it in situations like that, especially from an event that's so historically documented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To not know, like, oh, they gave prescriptions for this. That's weird.
Yeah, pretty nuts.
What I guess no one might not know this. What qualifies? Like, oh, I have headaches. Like, I don't know.
The shakes.
The shakes. I'm having withdrawals.
I'm withdrawing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were a real alcoholic and all of a sudden you couldn't drink it anymore, you're going through withdrawals.
Yeah. More
Yeah.
alcohol, 100%.
It's probably a lot like when medical marijuana came in and you had to, you needed a prescription for medical marijuana, and it's probably kind of similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we get headaches? Like,
Yeah,
because
pretty much.
you just whatever. You can have a medical license.
So now I did read a little bit too. Have you guys been working with the same artist for a lot of your can art, or like a community of artists, or
We use so we had one artist that we did a couple labels with us super early on. His work's great. Just we kind of went in a different direction.
Yep.
Ariel Katarina's our artist. Me and her actually were in a beer group together before we opened the brewery. She's one of those artists that can change her style and you can't tell it's still her doing it. It blows my mind. She's done a couple labels for other people as well. And you look at it and you're like, man, I know she did this, but it doesn't look like something that we put out, which is great. I love that. And she is awesome. I'll email her and I'll be like, hey, here's my idea. And not very many times does she have to do a redo on anything. It's always exactly what I have in my mind. So we're on the same page. She's probably done 150 labels for us over the years.
That's killer.
Yeah.
And that's such a valuable person to have
100%
in your work sphere for what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
because going back and forth on a label, that takes time, and your beer is going to be done. So it really is a deadline thing. So having it a single 100%.
Yeah, she's great.
I have a question about the beer group.
Okay.
Was this just a group of you that got together to have beer? 2-part question. Was this just that got together to just like drink beer and like go to have tasters and just kind of hang out and have beer? And the second question is, were you in the beer group before you got the brewery?
Yes. So the beer group was a Facebook Tampa Bay group for that was probably 40 or 50 members in it at the time. There was a couple of professionals. I wasn't a professional yet, so I was a home brewer, and kind of it was a cool place to get to know some of the people that you look up to in the industry, and have candid conversations, which was really cool. We did meet at like other breweries in town and had like bottle shares and stuff quarterly,
Very cool.
I gotta find one of these.
Yeah, Phil, they're called Facebook groups. It's not. I don't understand why you're so bad at this.
I don't know. I forgot my password.
Yes, that checks out. That checks out. No, so I think so. If that was prior to the brewery, then Facebook groups as the official section didn't really exist. This is somebody posting about it and people following along. Somebody,
right?
It's not Craigslist. It's a little different.
They have existed. Yeah, they existed.
They did exist then. Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
I haven't been on Facebook.
No. I just had
10 years.
to. I had to like think back to like what was happening 10 years ago in my life, and then be like, what was Facebook? And I got it. They had groups. Probably like
absolutely.
Plus years ago, they had
Okay.
groups. Yeah. We're just that old, by the way.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You're aging yourself. Yeah.
I know. Well, I was mainly in a lot of corgi groups, but different times. Different times.
So like, when you're in this group, are you like? I imagine that there's always that like conversation like we should open up a brewery after like you've had like 5 beers. You're like, I think Daniel and I have had this conversation a million times.
100%.
How long like between that moment of saying we should do it did you finally do it?
I kind of knew before being in that group that I was going to eventually do it. So yeah, it's something. I have a really bad habit of turning hobbies into careers. This is like the second or third time I've done it. Yeah. I'm aging myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, you thought I aged myself. This is my third hobby career.
Yeah.
This guy was old enough to know to not be drinking Surge when he was drinking it.
Yeah.
Oh, I dig it.
Wait, so
Well,
what was the previous hobby that you turned into a career? No.
I was restoring cars, and then I ended up being an automotive painter for another 10 years. So
Okay.
it's 10-year careers right there.
So you
And
pick a
you're-
lot of really boring careers, you know.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
lot of office work for you, I can
Yeah.
tell.
I do not like sitting in an office chair. But I say that, but my first career I was a programmer, so that's probably why I don't like sitting in an office chair, is because I did it for, I don't know, these long surge benders where we would just sit there for days on end and code and, you know, build stuff. I'm one of those people that I like to see what I create at the end of the day and feel accomplished. And the computer world just didn't do it for me. I know I was doing stuff, but I couldn't visualize it. So I've picked careers since then that feeds that creative juice with, you know, with something tangible that I can see at the end of the day.
Yeah, I understand. I'm kind of similar where you create stuff on a computer and then you see it, but it's still not a physical thing.
Yeah, you can write code for days and days and days, and they're like, "Oh, cool! You just made this application do this one little thing."
Yeah.
The calculator you created.
Let's print and let's
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what coding is. So again, I hate to age
sprints are
myself.
typically 2 weeks.
You need to drink more Surge.
Yeah.
Boy, I'd be coding my ass off at that point.
Daniel's still using a T-Mobile Sidekick, so
look-
you're off on
I'll
the,
look like the original like meme cat. I'm coding.
Shit, sorry.
Oh god, I thought it was mine.
It's me.
I was like, I can't believe somebody Skyped me during this show. I assume that's what the Skype ringtone
I
sounds
didn't realize that we did a call-in feature on the show now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's
God,
new.
that'd have been money if you'd have answered it and been like, "Hey, by the way, like, I got some shit going on."
No, I can talk.
Yeah, I can talk.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine, man. So, if you go back on our shows, Phil has traveled a fair amount since the inception of this show and been in different places on any given Thursday for the show. He was staying at a friend's house and he was in their garage because that was the only place to do it. Their dogs got out. The garage door opened up. People went running
Behind
him.
You keep this show real profesh.
Yeah, we had John Mallet on
Like the
early in
John
the game.
Mallet.
And he had to get up and let his cat out of the sliding door in the middle of the episode. So he's literally like, "Hold on, I'll be right back." And like walks off, and you hear the door open. He's like, "Had to let my cat out." It's like, what?
I didn't know you did that with cats. I thought that was a dog thing.
Thank you.
Right.
He's got an outdoor cat. That's a
It's
thing.
weird.
I mean, I can understand
just
it, but
get him
still,
like a cat door,
Jesus.
then.
Yeah. Like maybe you could have waited 32 more minutes. I
Yeah.
don't know. Call me crazy. That being said, I gotta pee. No, I'm just
I've done that on the show too, Dan.
Oh, that is 100% happened on the
So
show.
anyway, we've got blooper reels somewhere in the past where all of the incidents that happened
And
on our
unfortunately,
show
you
are
now
all
live
one.
on the next one.
Sorry.
See, again. All right, so
This is a drinking show. I would like to just make that
Correct
very
answer.
clear. If you are not here having a beer, I hope you're at least drinking wine or something else.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the quality is just going to get better as we go.
100%.
Always does.
Yeah.
always does.
Yeah.
It's always rough on the front end, but I'm more of a back end. No, hold on. There's got to be a
So-
better way to phrase that.
We're going to play trivia. And if you haven't joined Kahoot, you go either to kahoot.it or use the app, and our game pin is right there. You
Yeah.
have like 2 more minutes. So
Yeah, honestly, we'll give you 2 minutes. I'm a little upset of their lack of participation currently.
yeah.
Kevin, Abby, Andy,
I don't know
what's
where
going
everyone
on?
is.
They're
We
jumping
can
in.
see. We can see.
Probably.
We're like Santa Claus.
Yeah. But so because we have a guest tonight, we're going to use trivia as a little bit more of jumping off points to talk some more about the brewery and about the beer specifically. So no one's getting anything right unless you guys really paid attention and did some research, because you didn't. Trust me.
It's like our original trivia. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah. But we're not going to ask what year you opened. That was like episode 4. Where every brewery we had on, we're like, what year did they open?
Well, it was just an easy
I don't
trivia
know.
question. That was an easy question.
It was an easy question.
All right, we only got 2 people playing at the moment, but we'll just get going.
Yeah,
on that.
let's get into it so
Yeah.
we can get into trivia. You can always join anytime throughout. The game pen and everything will be up at the top of the chat as well, like it always is. I assume, Phil.
It is.
You put it there.
Yes.
Yep.
Like you always do.
Yes.
Always.
Okay.
Every
All right. Yeah, that's good because I don't know how to code that.
Don't
So
worry, I got it.
All right. Well, now Phil, you can roll the trivia screen now. That checks out. All right. So again, with trivia through Kahoot, it's not only about getting the right answer, it's about getting the right answer faster than everyone else. You get extra points for that. So go with your gut. Don't be Dr. Doolittling around.
What? Okay.
That's a saying.
I don't believe it is.
And again, tonight we are doing some trivia on Hidden Springs Ale Works. We're having the Prohibition Party, which is a pre-Prohibition Pilsner of theirs. And lucky enough, Josh, one of the co-owners, was nice enough to stop by and put up with this shit show. So let's
I love
do.
a good shit show.
Yeah, I love a good shit show. Let's do trivia. Oh, it's a fall trivia. Oh, I see what you did there. Springing. That's nice, Phil.
I should have called it hidden springing.
I'm always proud of you for that. All right, so head brewer and owner Josh Garman started brewing where? Funky Buddha Brewery, Cigar Brewing, Crooked Can Brewing.
It's garage.
Good.
Look at
See,
that.
people were paying attention. They heard home brewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying not to give it away, but
No,
Oh,
it
no,
was
no.
funny. You said it and you kind of paused, and I was like, "Man, we're good."
So now home brewing though has a litany of applications. Like, did you start messing around in your garage? Did you have somebody else that was brewing in their garage? Like, where does that actually begin?
so I was always one of those guys that, like, you know, coming out of, you know, right at drinking age, when you got $5 in your pocket, most people would go and buy like St. Ides as much as they can to get drunk. And I was always the guy that would spend it all on like one imported beer because, you know, back then imported beer was the best beer that you could buy. And that kind of drove my interest in beer. Once American craft brewing started to kind of boom, I really dove into that, and homebrewed at home for about 8 years before deciding to open the brewery.
Nice.
And brewed all kinds of styles, a lot of traditional styles, which, if anybody's familiar with our beer, is kind of odd because we don't do a whole lot of traditional styles. But it's a good way to kind of wrap your head around the ingredients you're using and why you do certain things to get certain flavors and aromas.
And I think the traditional styles tend to lend themselves a little bit better to some of the home brewing. You know, you're not going wild. You're not putting a bunch of lactose, doing a bunch of weird shit in your garage. Yeah, there's 4 ingredients. I'm going to do it at a small scale and dial it in. So I think those historical styles lend themselves well to that.
They're just hard to. You can't hide behind any.
Can't hide behind
Anything.
a crisp boy lager.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but it gives you something to kind of like judge your creation on, right? Like, so you have kind of like this is what this style should taste like, so you can kind of see if you're doing it right, if that makes sense.
No,
Yeah,
that makes really good sense. I thought Shinerback set me apart in Ohio. I mean, that was a baller. All right, so Speakeasy
Was the
currently
fastest.
the fastest. Everyone got it right. This will be the first time that everyone's on the board on the first question.
Yeah, pretty good.
So well done, soldiers. All right,
All right.
let's get to question 2. Hidden Spring Ale Works has become known for what style of beer? Pilsner, hazy IPAs, stouts, or sours?
real fast fingers tonight.
Nah, and only one person did any research, and I love that about them.
Or
I
they
assume
just
it was
guessed.
No, it was Pharaoh. She did research. So yeah, Josh, I wanted to keep this question in here because I thought it was interesting. You guys are in Tampa. I know historically around us here in Virginia, don't get me wrong, there's stouts year round, but stouts take a huge uptick fall, winter. Like that's
it's a cold drinking
fireside
beer, not a cold drinking beer.
Yeah, it's one of those things that have always boggled my mind on why Tampa has kind of taken the lead on Imperial Stouts. And I think we let me try to I think stouts, I don't know. I can't tell you why. I think we make quality stouts in Tampa because of the water profile of Florida.
You guys are using city water at your brewery, correct?
So we use RO water for everything but our stouts.
Yeah.
For stouts, we use city water for. We charcoal filter it, but we use city water because I haven't been able to replicate the mouthfeel for a really heavy, thick Imperial Stout with RO water that you build with brewing salts to get it where you want it. The Tampa water is just built for stouts. Cigar City kind of laid the groundwork there. Pretty much every brewer in town that's come from Cigar City knows how to brew a solid stout. I could think of 5 or 6 breweries in Tampa Bay that make world-class Imperial Stouts. Just something that you kind of need to do if you're making beer in Tampa.
Yeah, it's still always interesting to me though, because we've had several Cigar Cities. We've had quite a few Tampa beers in general, but it's always interesting to me to think, yeah, let's get down there. We'll go watch a Bucks game and cram an Imperial Stout down the hand.
Yeah, when we first started to get recognized for them, and we had people lining up around the corner to get them, and you look out and it's 95 degrees and they're drinking stout in the parking lot. It's like, man, I don't know if I can do
Milk
that.
was a bad choice.
Milk was a bad choice.
Milk was a bad choice. Yeah. It's funny. You got 2 people that say that we're known for sours, which I appreciate, because if you look at how much different sours we make a year, we actually make the most sour beer. And I think sour beers make way more sense to drink in Florida.
Oh yeah.
So I appreciate the 2 people that voted for that one.
Here's my question on the sour beer thing. Do you drink sour beers regularly?
I do.
Yeah, you like them?
I do. Yeah.
So we're not in the same age group because it's instant heartburn for me.
Well, see, you didn't ask me.
I'm just kidding.
I like them, but yeah, I can't drink as much as I used to, for sure.
Oh yeah, sure.
At best, can do one.
Yeah, I like sour beers. I love the flavor profiles of them. I love the opportunity to do crazy shit with them. And then I have one, and I'm like, well, this is it. I don't know what Tums I'm putting into my next one.
Yeah. So when we were first opening up, we poured a couple festivals as a brewery and planning kind of thing, and we poured a Sour Fest here in Tampa, and we had like a beaker on our jockey box filled with Tums, so that people. And I swear, I don't know how many Tums were in. There was a big ass beaker, and that shit was gone by the time the fest was over with.
God, you could have done like a prize giveaway. Guess the amount of Tums.
Yeah,
like the whole carnival
At the beginning of the night and the end of the night. How many got eaten that night?
You got to do math, damn it.
It was a lot. It was hundreds of them, if not more than that. Yeah,
I love it.
But yeah,
cool. So we're gonna get into question 3, but first let's use Speakeasy. Still killing it. Phil, don't roll that bean footage yet.
I'm not. I'm opening this thing.
I know I am as well, but yeah, okay. So again, tonight we're having Prohibition Party, which is a pre-prohibition style Pilsner. Nailed it.
can you open mine?
it's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a lot of stop plosives for me.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for this beer. Again, like Phil said, the can art is wonderful. If you can't get down with a Pilsner, there's probably something wrong with you. You should stop drinking beer.
But you just don't like beer, is actually.
Yeah, exactly. So
and I stand by that.
I stand by that statement. And Speakeasy is killing it. Unfortunately, Kevin is not. He said he used his stage name, which I assume is me, if we had to guess.
Clever.
Good, yeah, going out on a limb here. If I'm wrong, let me
He's
know.
left eye.
He's left eye.
Oh, that's why he wears the patch.
The hell did you think it was for? All right,
So
yeah.
you can see in the dark if you take the one off.
All right.
Next question.
Next question. All right. So, what is the name of Hidden Spring Ale Works Mug Club? Is it Draft Animals, Riot Society, Sun Bums, or Beer Loyalist? I made all 4 of these up. The answer is none.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, wow. Well done. Well done.
Wait.
Yeah, so it is Riot Society, which, again, when I stumbled across this, I thought was a lot of fun because we're big in the beer community down here. We spend a lot of time with our local
Kind of a big
breweries,
deal.
and we have mug clubs. Like, it's our Christmas present to each other. I just buy her like 3. She buys me like 3 of all our local breweries.
Yeah.
I thought Riot Society was a lot of fun as a name because it's almost not even beer related. Like, if you didn't know, you'd be like, what the fuck is Riot Society?
I'm in.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, riot's a term that we use on the Prohibition Pilsner that you have. That label is unique compared to the way that we normally do our labels.
Yeah.
We usually use a bunch of like tattoo flash kind of inspired images that have to do with the name of the beer, kind of without all the way through the label. And over the years, we've kind of just started to call them riots. Like, each one is a riot. So that kind of inspired the name for the Riot Society. And you know, being the marketing genius that Hidden Springs as a whole is, we named it something that we had to explain every time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really fun name, and I think it really pops, and it kind of inspires the attitude that we want. But the term itself is something that is like an internal used word that we use to describe the artwork. But yeah, it works. It fits our vibe for sure.
Yeah,
I love how it's the exact opposite of your name. Like, your name sounds like this wonderful Hidden Springs, and then
it sounds like a fairy from Zelda.
the Riot Society.
Yeah. Once again, another marketing genius ploy when we were coming up with the name of the brewery. The name of the brewery actually is inspired. I'm a true Floridian. My wife is as well. We grew up in Tampa, and my family's had property on the Chesapeake River north of us since I was little. So I grew up in Springwater, and like anybody that knows me well knows that my favorite thing to do is if I get a day off, I'm going to go up to the springs and just sit in the water and drink beer all day. So we wanted something that kind of spoke to Floridians, and that kind of inspired the name of the brewery. Finding a creek and just kind of paddling to see where the end of that creek goes. If you find a nice spring there, just enjoy it and crack open a brew.
I dig it.
Paddleboarding is one of our favorites.
Yeah. I do want to touch on one other thing from the Riot Society as well, which I thought was really cool. You guys do a dream beer competition, which I thought was really interesting and something that I don't see a lot of from mug clubs. Will you explain that competition and let people know what that is? Because I think it's a great way to let people be involved in your beer.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Mug Club is a concept that we've kind of talked about doing for years. Instead of doing your typical mug club where, you know, everybody's got their mug and they get a discount, and we wanted to kind of involve people more in the process and get them to be just kind of immerse themselves in what we do. This is the second year that we've done this competition. The first year has resulted in one beer that we made that we released during Tampa Bay Beer Week earlier this year, which was an Imperial Stout. Brownie Points was the name of it.
Nice.
I stand by it's one of the best stouts we've made, which is kind of high praise. I'm pretty proud of all the stouts that we made, but that one was really good. We've got 2 more. We picked 3 winners last year, and we are going to release these beers. One near Christmas, which will be like a coquito based stout, another Imperial Stout, and then we picked something that I thought was a really cool concept that we've never really done, which is like a raspberry marshmallow hazy IPA.
Nice.
And we're going to do that one for Beer Week next year. And that beer, I'm really excited about it. And it's a concept that I wouldn't have thought of. And that's why I kind of love it. It's because it brings other people's intellect into the game and lets them kind of throw something at the wall, and just, you don't have to give me a recipe. Just give me your concept and let's work together as a team to come up with something cool. And then we will have them come in and brew the beer with us and be part of the team and make a day of it and make it a process. And I think it's a good way to bring your really like loyal fan base in to the fold and let them appreciate the hard work that my team specifically does to create that product.
You're a beer loyalist, if you will.
Yes.
I thought that was a solid mug club name, though. And you have to wear a wig.
It is great. I mean, Sunbones kind of was good too. I like that.
It's Florida, it was a safe bet.
It's like a Miami brewery name, maybe.
Yeah. I did that for Phil. All right, Speakeasy killing it, right on fire. Oh my God, Kevin is his stage name. Moved up quite a bit.
Or down. He could still be Left Eye.
Yeah, I think he might be Left Eye, especially since he said brewery.
All right, we got one last question. So for all the marbles, here we go.
We're not disclaimer, we're not giving away any marbles. True or false? Hidden Spring Ale Works makes a 0 IBU Pale Ale.
That is the International Bitterness Units.
It's a beer show. Everyone knows that. I would hope.
It's either bittering or bitterness.
Jeez. No.
The same concept. Anyway.
All right, so this is true. And the only reason I wanted to highlight this is just...
How?
Yeah. Like, what is that process like? And when you were like, what we should do? Hear me out.
So this beer came about early on in like the hazy IPA kind of craze. And I will tell you right now, I didn't jump on the hazy beer train. I was a late comer to it. I didn't like it. I didn't appreciate it. It took me a trip to New England to have, Trillium Fresh or Treehouse and really appreciate what that style of beer can be before I understood what the goal was. So I think 0 IBU is an old-fashioned term in today's age. Most of the hazy beers out there are going to be close to 0 IBU. So it was our attempt to try something new. So traditionally in a West Coast, how nerdy do you want me to get? I can get kind of nerdy.
I'm so into this. Hold on, keep going.
So traditionally, like a West Coast IPA, you're gonna add your hops at the beginning of the boil. It's gonna change the alpha acids in the hops and give you the bitterness that creates the IBU, the International Bittering Unit that we were just discussing. And by moving them later in the boil, you're exposing them to the heat for a shorter period of time, which will make them less bitter. So the lower the IBU, but the more hop you add, you're going to get all the flavor and aroma from the hop, and you're not going to get the bitterness that most people associate with a West Coast IPA or IPAs in general. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of times I'll be in the tasting room and I'll hear someone at the bar say, I don't like IPAs. And I'll be like, well, why don't you try this one and see if you like it? And a lot of the times they do, they just don't like bitter beer. And it was a good way to introduce people to an ingredient that they didn't think they enjoyed, but used in a way that makes them appreciate the hop for what it brings to the table as far as flavor and aroma goes.
Yeah.
Now, so what's the name of that beer?
Zero Fucks Given.
Oh, I thought it was ZFG, but yeah, okay, that's fair. It's a family show, Josh.
No, okay. Again, please have a drink in your hand or otherwise impaired.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Zero Fucks Given is the name of the beer. Yeah. It used to have a flaming middle finger as like the main icon on the can, but we decided, selling beer is important, and a lot of places wouldn't carry it. So we
Hard
shorted
to
it.
get the old Food Lion or Rack and Sack with a flaming middle finger, right? Yeah.
To be fair, it was a liquor store brand that refused to carry it, and I was like, a
Holy
pretty
shit.
big name one, and I was like, really, you guys sell liquor? That's all you sell, and this is not kosher? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah, so
crazy.
we've kind of tamed it a little bit and massaged it, and it's ZFG.
Now it's a thumbs down for the modern culture.
We have no hand signals on it now. It's
You
ZFG.
do not associate with gangs.
Only Surge.
Only Surge.
Yeah.
There is only Zool. No, wait, no.
I'm telling you, I think you're going to make a Surge sour next.
I mean, I'm surprised somebody hasn't found the syrup somewhere and made a sour out of that, or a seltzer, to be honest with you.
Oh, it
We
might
did
have.
try some Warhead
We
sours.
did have the Warhead sour.
Yeah. They were pretty rough.
They were
Yeah.
awful. Fun
Yeah.
fact, those are also videotaped and you can watch them.
You should not watch those. Those are rough.
Those are rough.
All right. So let's see who won trivia. I assume it's Kevin. Excuse me, me.
Ooh.
He came up, started at the bottom.
Left eye.
Now he's at the top. Well, that's not Kevin. No,
Ooh.
damn it.
It's
Speakeasies taking it
Yeah,
home.
it's Vero. Vero got every question right. Knew who was on. She did her research and didn't miss a question.
Or it's a person who's very familiar with the brewery.
And if you've met Vero, she doesn't speak very easy at all.
What?
She loves to yell at me.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I was like, what are you talking about? Well, yeah.
I love that everyone's mind immediately went a different, like, Jesus.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why she yells at you.
This checks out heavily. So real quick, Josh, tell me about the Pilsner itself. You already alluded to the fact that like you don't do a lot of these style beers. So why a Pilsner? We already heard about the can art, but why a Pilsner? Why a Prohibition style Pilsner? Like what's the story?
So we brew about 6 or 7 different lagers a year. I mean, with a name like Hidden Springs Ale works,
They kind of have to.
Yeah, lagers are something that we dabble in, but we don't hang our hat on.
Right.
As a brewer, I think they're the purest form of brewing. I think if you really want to become a great brewer, you need to master brewing a Pilsner or a lager. I'm a big Doppelbock fan. I like big lagers. We're working on a collab with a Polish brewery right now. We're going to do a Baltic porter with them. So we do play in the lager field, just on a smaller level than other breweries. There's nothing better than a crisp, clean lager, and there's nothing to stand behind. So if that beer has a flaw, it's going to shine through, which is what makes brewing a solid lager something that every brewer should attempt to do and master. The pre-Prohibition, so it's got a different malt bill than some of the more traditional lagers. Traditionally, the German immigrants came into the country and were trying to make lagers like they used to in their home country with American ingredients. So you're going to use like a 6-row grain instead of like a 2-row base or a Pilsner base, and corn. So there's corn in this beer, which is an interesting ingredient to brew with. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge to get it to be dry and super drinkable without being a little bit sweet from the corn.
Mhm.
You get a little bit of sweetness that comes through, but it's not enough to turn you off. And that's kind of the key to this beer, is making that corn kind of be the star of the show without being cloyingly sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I noticed the sweetness and I was like, like it was like surprisingly nice in the sense of like it, to your point, not overwhelming. Like it's still definitely got like a bite to it and it's super crispy. And
but to be fair, in pure Hidden Springs fashion, I've got a rice lager in the tank right now with marshmallows in it. So
I can live with that.
we do pastry lager now every once in a while. And I did it as a joke at first. I didn't think people would be into it, but people really enjoy it. So for
Did you save any of the like original rice lager before Eddie Martin? No.
The first time we brewed it,
Yeah.
we did. But it goes. People like it. So
It's all
That's good.
marshmallowed
That's
now. I love rice lagers, and I think marshmallow is actually a good fit for that. For that style in general, like I could live with that.
yeah, it's surprisingly good. We didn't use lactose in it like we do in a lot of our sours because I didn't want it to be like a fully bastardized version of a
Sure.
lager. So it's sweet and it's definitely marshmallow, but it's not like in your face overclowingly sweet.
Yeah.
So
Do you guys can that, or is it just on draft?
We did. It's called Crispy Treats. We can it. We've canned it. This will be the third year that we put it out.
Okay.
And people have been asking for it. We didn't. I don't think we put it out last year, but this will be the third release that we've done of this beer, and
Nice.
people really get excited about it. It's like a Rice Krispie treat. It's
Yeah, I was gonna say marshmallow and rice. When you really think about that's a gold
it's a
setup.
good. It's a good.
You pair
combo.
that with a glass of Surge, you can get the fuck on.
No.
Well, Josh, again, I appreciate you stopping by. Is there anything you got coming up at the brewery? Is there anything that you want to talk about for a second before we let you? I assume go watch Baker Mayfield kick some ass.
we just we kind of touched on it earlier. The Riot Society. Anybody interested in putting a submission in for the competition? That is open through the end of the month, and then we are going to make decisions after that, and we will brew that and release that for Beer Week next year. So if anybody that's watching is interested in that, go ahead to our website and sign up for that and put your submission in. The crazier the better. Like I love seeing these ideas. Some of them are just insane, and I love that. I love a good challenge. I want to make something that we can make taste really, really good, but just when you get one of those ideas like there's no way that we're gonna be able to make this work, and we make it work. It's happened a few times, and I really love those moments. So yeah, the crazier the better.
Well, when you get a submission from Caniel Dar, which happened 2 nights ago, I apologize. Please don't make that beer. No.
Nice.
Well, Josh, I want to say thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. We're obviously going to talk about the beer for a few minutes, but I'm going to let you watch the Bucks game because I assume you're a huge Bucks fan. You're born and raised.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. Go Sports. No.
I hope both teams have.
I'm more of a Lightning fan, but
there we go. Yeah, there we go. Nothing says frozen water than
Like
Florida.
Florida.
I've never understood that. My little brother's a big Lightning fan. I'm like, what is happening?
I mean,
it's
I'm
crazy.
so-
I mean, you got Florida too. I mean, two good teams from Florida. It's
Yeah.
nuts.
Did the Panther? They did well.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. Come on, man. I know.
Just in my face, I was like,
I love that everyone's face was like, good.
I mean, you
Lord,
did just
keep
say
them.
go sports. So.
get it.
I have a lot of money on tonight's game. Okay. Josh, really appreciate you
Not
stopping by,
happening.
man. I know it was last minute. I'm glad you guys fared well during the storm.
Yes.
I hope the rest of your family's doing okay down there as well.
Yeah,
And,
we're doing good. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
if anybody does want to give or any help, any assistance there, we will be posting on our socials all week for other places to be able to do something, anything that you can. There are a lot of displaced people. There's a lot of people hurting. So I appreciate you guys throwing that out there and making it known.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And again, social's easy to find. Hidden Springs Ale Works. But Josh, I want to thank you for coming by. I'm sure you have a lot of better things to do than talk about your own beer, because I know you do
it's
that
after
a lot.
hours.
After hours specifically.
Yeah.
So,
It's all good. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. You guys are fun.
hey, we appreciate it, man. I'll be in contact with a follow-up email, mainly to ask you to send me your marshmallow rice lager.
Will do.
Cheers, man. Have a good
Thanks,
night.
man. Have a good one.
I love it.
So,
At least I didn't make a trivia question that was, will you send me a hat? Remember that early in the day?
yeah, that
Yeah.
was a
I'm a
time.
hat dude, man. Just send me a fucking hat. I'll wear it. But Now, I dig this. My favorite thing is that, Tiffany and I keep all of our can labels.
Yes, we have a book.
So this one's going to go in the book, and we're going to Sharpie our information onto one of them. We'll keep one regular, and then we'll
It'll
Sharpie
be a
all our
dual-sided
information
page.
in.
Be interesting to hear what your ailment is.
Oh, it's
Headaches?
obvious.
Oh.
Yeah, headaches.
I was going safe.
It's an old man pain.
Mine,
Man flu.
Yeah. I love it. Well, let's talk about this beer. We're running a little bit long, so let's jump right into reviewing it.
Yeah.
Do you
we
want
have
to?
that clip?
Do we have a clip for that? Oh, hey. Sorry, I didn't realize we were back. All right.
loud.
So again, tonight we're going to be talking about Prohibition Party. It's a pre-Prohibition Pilsner from Hidden Springs Ale Works out of Tampa, Florida. I'll go ahead and go first because obviously based off the rest of the show, I don't know anything. I'm glad that he brought up there was corn in there because it was a little sweet on the front end. And for a second, I was like, I wanted to pick the can up and be like, well, let me look at, what was used. But corn absolutely makes sense in that situation. But I agree with Josh 100%. I agree with Tiffany 100%. It's just enough that it gives you that little bit of sweetness without being too much.
Well, yeah, sorry. I'll wait for mine.
Yeah, wait. Thank you. That's how reviews work. You give your opinion. I give my opinion. And we come to a collective.
Yeah. I'm waiting.
All right, yeah. So I dig this beer. I think it is the sweetness caught me off guard a little bit, but if I'd actually read that there was corn in it, assuming that's posted somewhere, that wouldn't have caught me off guard as much. But I dig it. I think it would be interesting to pick this up and not be a beer person and get that little bit of sweetness out of it with seeing Pilsner. If you're just an average Pilsner drinker like myself. But I dig it. If we're going 1 out of 5 bottle caps, it's a solid 4 for me. I think it's clean across the board. You get all your Pilsner out of the back end of it. There's that little bit of sweetness in the front end of it. Really well done. And the color's pretty.
It's clear. Did you give it a score? 4?
4,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Oh, thank God. I don't have to listen to you now.
No.
We'll just call it even.
I don't know.
Please
I
continue.
stopped hearing for
Okay.
like 30 seconds. Okay.
This part of the show is brought to you
Phil,
by
would
Apple.
you like to go?
Oh.
No, go for it, Tiffany. You got it. You've got this.
All right. So to your point, as someone picking it up off the shelf,
Already said that.
I think with it saying pre-prohibition, the fact that it isn't quite like what you'd expect to find today in a Pilsner makes it okay.
Yep.
I also think that a lot of the like mainstream beers that are, American lagers now, but kind of started as a Pilsner recipe from early on. They actually did take some pre-prohibition recipes and bring them forward. I think a lot of your average beer drinkers are also used to drinking those. And so this is a really easy intro into craft beer. It's got the right bite to it that a Pilsner does have, but it is slightly sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is I find this beer fascinating because it is like actually an accurate beer, and it tastes great. I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Jeez.
Nice.
Yeah.
I when I poured it, the color alone, I was like, wow. Like, and it was really pretty to pour.
Yeah.
And then second I drank it, I was like, yeah, I'm into this. Like, this is, I may not know all like the scientific aspects behind it, but I know what I like. And for me, I was like, give me a 12 pack of these in the 12 ounces. Like, I would love just having these in the fridge all the time. It's totally a great beer for me. And the little bit of sweetness, I think it actually is great for who I am as a beer drinker. And it is, so for me, this is a killer beer. I'm going 4.5 with you on that one, Tiffany.
Well, I'll be the asshole in the room.
Yeah.
You always grade a little bit harder.
He's
though.
still down there listening.
Yeah.
And I assume Mary is still here.
We'll call it even.
Yeah. It doesn't affect the score.
That makes it a show score of 4.5.
Yeah, it's a 4.1.
Also
It's
that
a great
it's
score.
under a 5%.
Yeah, under 5% is the world that beer
Again,
should
a
live in,
12-pack?
which is perfect.
Just-
But
Yeah.
I think really the most important part here is whether or not it goes well with Surge.
No!
Oh,
Like, if we're gonna hang out, like, we got to find this out.
Nope, still
Now
Surge.
it has the right amount of sweetness.
Now
It's got that
still
little
Surge.
citrus sweetness that I love.
Jesus,
Oh.
that's that 56 grams of sugar kicking in, dude.
Yeah. Well, see you later.
Hurts my heart.
I love this. Again, I want to thank Josh for stopping by Hidden Spring Ale Works
Yes.
out of Tampa, Florida. If you get the chance to swing through there, or if you see any of their beers, apparently they'll have a flaming middle finger.
Nope, it will not.
No, it will not.
Yeah, every single one of their cans says it. It's really aggressive.
It's real small.
It's actually just their emblem now. They've changed their logo.
No, but if you can find them in the Florida area or anywhere else, wherever they distribute, pick it up, give it a swing, because
If I find more, I'll pick these up and send them to you as well.
yeah, please do. Because so far, honestly, one for one on my personal experience from them, and Josh was great as well. If you do keep up with the show, then you're probably pretty familiar. We guys. Is that?
It's a new term.
Can I say we guys? I think I just did.
It's a usins, but it's we guys.
Yeah, it's the Tennessee we guys. So I have some people who live up north. I have some family in Tennessee. I have some in Georgia. So we guys, that's about where we go now.
Yeah.
That's fine.
For a second, Mary, I thought you called me 40. And I was like, ma'am.
Close enough.
Pretty goddamn close. But if you keep up with the show, we collaborated on a beer with Coastal Fermentory out of downtown Newport News.
Yes.
We did a Fooder aged beer that had a Saison base.
Which won an award.
It won an award here locally, and that beer is actually now
Virginia.
in Great American Beer Festival.
Yep.
So Tiffany and I will be in Colorado next week, actually. So follow along with us if you don't keep up on our social medias. Watch Tiffany take goofy pictures and watch me probably not know what beer is. It's going to be amazing.
Or the photos with him in it. Obviously, I have taken them, which means that there's going to be like 4 of them
Super good.
the entire weekend. And they'll be like, Daniel's like, I just need you to take this. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, you're right. I should be taking photos. And then I forget I got to take photos again. So
You got those dollar guns filled with our business cards, right? You're just going to shoot.
Yeah,
them
we
out.
forgot to order business cards. We have 7 business
we
cards
have more
for
than
the
that.
weekend.
We have more than that. But yeah,
Ah.
I forgot to like redesign it with TikTok on it. It's fine.
Nice.
But also, if you don't keep up with the show as much as you should, early in the game, early in the pandemic, we were using a lot of Beer Drop, which was based out of Colorado originally.
Yes.
They didn't distribute from other places. So we have a shit ton of breweries on that were from Colorado and from that area. So good news. Rails End and 105 West are 25 minutes from where we're staying.
Yep.
So I'll be sending some emails next Monday-ish to reach out to a couple of people, but there's a good chance me and Jellyman are going to be shooting the shit.
And Phil, I found a liquid, like one of those IV places. It's also very close to our hotel.
You have everything you need.
Yeah,
Just fine. Just fine.
there's a rampant
Minus the
homeless problem
oxygen.
in
I will
Denver.
not have enough oxygen.
They've got
So-
stations for that.
Yeah, true story. Make sure you follow along with us. Swing by our social medias. Again, big shout out to Hidden Springs Ale Works. I love having people on the show. I love hearing about people's beer processes. That's kind of one of the fun parts about the show, other than just having a beer together. So follow along with us, play along
At
with
the
us.
end?
I think so. Yeah. I
No,
think
well, I'm still
we're
wrapping it up.
it up.
What I'd like to talk about more than anything else.
Is not that.
So when
No.
when Jesus first said, no, that's where you can shut it off. I was like, surely
Oh.
you can shut it off.
I froze. I don't know what just happened.
Okay.
It's the surge.
Here's the surge.
The surge is going through me
You
into
need
my
a surge protector.
Oh,
His
oh,
name is Jesus.
While I was frozen, did we finish? Should I
Yeah,
turn it
no,
off?
I mentioned Jesus, and I started to talk about one of my favorite things that he'd ever said.
Oh God.
When
Oh,
the Jews
so-
first,
No.
oh no,
Jesus Christ. What is wrong with you?
I'm talking
Fucking-
biblically.
Ugh,
Follow us on social.
Don't do that
See
now.
what their
Truth
experience is
social.
God damn it. You know?
God, I hate this game.
Ugh. We were doing so well.
I think I wrapped up with a banger.
Even Joshua was like, I'm out.
Uh,
Well, he's a bit